All right, how do we sound?
Sounds good.
Hello.
Yes. Sounds good.
All right, you want to count us in?
3, 2, 1.
Yo, welcome to a special edition of Necro Electric, because it's number 10.
Woo, bitches.
If you guys don't know, a lot of video podcasts, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and a lot of these fucking podcasts fail and never make it to
a lot of work. This man
episode
stays
10.
up until 11 o'clock every night editing
for you.
videos. For y'all.
So,
We love y'all.
so for anybody who rolled their eyes when they heard we were starting one, fuck you. We're here forever. All right. I'm your host, Sean, as always. My beautiful gothic bride here. And on the mixer, Susana Banana.
Yes.
Susana Banana.
I do love bananas.
What's our theme for today?
Our theme today is recklessness. Being reckless.
We might have to make this like a 6-parter because I've got
Yeah. This pretty much
tons,
just describes your life until you met me.
tons of recklessness.
Basically. A whole 32 years.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into some reckless stories. I'll kick it off with one night I almost got arrested, but because I got in a fight, but the guy that I was fighting actually saved me from getting arrested.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Is this one of those things where men that are friends fight each other and then they're better friends afterwards?
No, he was a stranger.
Oh,
and we weren't even cool afterwards. He was just sympathetic to me, I guess.
Doing the good moral thing, I guess.
The fuck was that?
This one. That's okay.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye. That's weird. All right. Well, yeah, basically what happened was I went to a party, basically kind of like a blind date before I met my wife. And I went to this party and I knew nobody there. And it was at an apartment, and it was this lady's coworkers and stuff. Mm-hmm. And there was 2 apartments. They were adjacent from each other, and you could go into either apartment. And in one, there was a bunch of dudes, and they were watching UFC stuff, UFC fights. Mm-hmm. And the chick or whatever was somewhere else, and I was sitting on the couch, and I'm trying to blend in and be friends and stuff. And I'm watching this fight, and there was a little Asian guy sitting next to me, and then there was 2 Mexican dudes on my right, and we're all just, being awkward. And it was a George St. Pierre fight, and he was choking some dude out, and this Asian dude was all fucking screaming fucking do whatever, get out of it.
All into it.
And everybody's just kind of laughing at this dude, and he was like, if that was me, all I would do is this. He did this motion. He's like, I would just do this, and then I'd fucking bend his wrist and fucking get right out of that shit. Mm-hmm. And then I'd been drinking tequila.
Oh God, did you try that move on him? I saw where this was going. I know you too well now.
Yeah, I was drinking tequila, and I get mouthy when I drink tequila. And I was like, dude, if George St. Pierre had any kind of hold on you, he'd choke you right the fuck out real quick, dude. And he's like, no, I'm a fucking black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I'm all this and that. And he was probably all of 5'3", maybe weighed 100 pounds. Or
different weight class.
Yeah, he was a tiny guy. And I'm laughing, and these other dudes that are next to me are laughing. And then, mind you, there's a whole party going on. Mm-hmm. The apartment was full. And yeah, he's like, yeah, he was just popping off about all this shit that he has done or whatever. And I'm like, I bet you if I put you in a chokehold, you can't fucking get out of it.
Oh man.
And he's like, oh, I bet you I can, blah blah blah. And so we started going back and forth. And the only other people that know that we're talking about it are these 2 dudes, right? Mm. And so the guy gets up, and I'm half joking, because I'm 6'4", 200 pounds, there's no way this dude is gonna get out of this, right? Yeah. And I'm half-heartedly joking, and the dude pops up and he's like, well, come on. He starts pushing me, come on.
Oh.
you just put it on me, put it on me then, put it on me, you know, I'll show you, you know, and I'm like, all right, dude, you know, and then I fucking hop up, grab his little ass, put him in a choker, and then he lifts his leg back and kind of catches my nuts like a little bit, right? And I'm half drunk, right? So now I'm mad. And so now I really put it on him, and then I jumped up and I put my legs around his waist, his hips, and then I just went back and landed on my back, and it was just fucking choking him out. And now the party, because we're not even like paying attention to anybody else,
right? Yeah.
And now all these other people think that I'm just attacking this guy.
Oh.
Because nobody knows me.
Yeah.
Right? And so all these dudes start like jumping on us. The two Mexican dudes don't say shit. They're just laughing and drinking, on the couch. Yeah, they know it all, right? And then all these other people like just get all crazy and they start flooding in from the other apartment. And then like next thing I know, I got like 8 dudes on me, right?
Oh my God.
And the apartment security, because it was kind of a poshy place, they come up first, right? And then I got like 4 dudes holding me down, and I'm like, yo, we were just fucking playing around. But this dude started getting wild too, because I got mad, and right?
Yeah.
And then the cops come, and by now it's probably like 1:30 in the morning. And then they handcuffed me and put me on the side, and they're getting this dude's statement and all this shit. And then and the cop's like a total asshole and won't let me talk, or I'm like trying to tell him, hey dude, it was just a misunderstanding, we were just having fun. Shut up. That's what he kept telling me. Shut up. I'll speak to you when I need something, or whatever he was saying to me.
Man.
I'm just like, you fucking asshole, dude. And then, but luckily, the dude that I fought was like, he told the same story and was like, no, it was a wager, kind of. We were just fucking around. It got out of hand. Like, I don't want to press any charges or whatever, right? And then I'm in handcuffs. And then I didn't even really know that girl that brought me to the party. And she comes in, and before anything, I haven't even seen her like most of that night or whatever. She comes in, she slaps me. I'm in handcuffs. And she like takes off, right? And then I'm like, okay, and that's exactly what I said. I was like, okay, like, because she thought I was attacking her friend, just like everybody else, right?
Okay.
And I was like, fucking bitch, dude.
And
then I'd been drinking, so the cops gave my keys to the security guard. And they're like, go put these in the office. I don't want, we don't want this guy driving. We don't want him doing anything. We don't want him leaving. I'm like, well, where am I supposed to go? And then the Asian guy was like, you could sleep on my floor.
Oh, how kind.
Yeah. So,
well, he knew what was going on. He knew you weren't just randomly attacking him.
Yeah.
He asked for it. He was like, come on.
He instigated.
So that was a reckless random party story.
Yeah. That's fun. That's funny. The girl's like, ah.
Yeah. Just like walked in and
how dare
got me.
you?
What about you guys? You guys ever do anything dumb at parties?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but I've never been in a fight.
Never
been.
Yeah,
No.
Have you ever been in a fight? Physical fight?
Physical, no.
No?
Like with my sibling, but not. And then still, your parents take you like.
Yeah. Sibling
Stop
fights
you.
can get
Yeah,
fucking wild.
they-
though.
they get
Sibling
wild.
fights don't count.
That shit gets personal.
Yeah, it does.
I have a funny story though about a sibling fight because
Let's hear it.
it's really short and funny. I was just fucking with my little sister because I guess I was always punking her. I'm like 6 years, almost 7 years older than her or whatever. So we would make her do everything, go stand by the antenna and hold it, and like the whole time we're watching it, and she was like, I would do it like a dumbass. And then one day I think she just had it.
Had enough of your shit.
Yeah, enough of my shit. And I was like talking shit to her, and I was like, get the fuck out of my room or whatever. And she gets like, I don't know what I said, but she grabs like this wooden toy spoon thing that she had, and she just throws it at me, and I was like, that ain't gonna do nothing, right? And I'm standing there like, this is a spoon, and then she goes whoosh, and I was like, oh shit, oh my god, I left a big old imprint, and I was like, oh hell. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna hit her, I deserve it. And she forever remembers that day. Remember that day I threw the spoon at you?
That was a good
Big
childhood
spoon.
memory
I was
moment.
like, fuck yeah. I was like, okay, respect.
What about you?
I'm pretty innocent. Like, I was never the one to like get in trouble or anything.
What about just like just making reckless decisions.
Oh yeah,
Always.
plenty.
Like I remember one time, I have a buddy Mickey. He's like one of my closest friends, and we're Irish, and we used to drink hardcore like back in the day. I remember one time we shut down the bar and we were walking home, and we were both super fucked up, and we're like, dude, I don't want to walk all the way around to get to our house, so we're like, let's just jump this fence, right?
Okay.
And we're like, all right. And it was like a 8-foot fence. It was like a brick fence.
Damn.
And we're like, cool, all right, let's do it. And I remember I jumped on the top, and then I just dove over trying to be like, oh, I could just do this real quick.
Yeah.
It was like a 12-foot drop on the other side.
Damn.
And then I didn't know it dropped into a parking lot. Yeah, so I went over and I was like, oh fuck. Went on there, landed on my face. Like there was some bushes, luckily, and I like bounced off the bushes into the fucking the parking lot. It fucked my face all up.
Oh man, I fucked around on the skateboard when I was learning in Rio with Diego. That shit hurt. It hurt so bad. I was like, I could do
You just
this.
ate shit or what?
I ate shit so bad. Like, I was like, just I don't know no special tricks, but I was like, I'm gonna go. And I'm like riding all hard, and there's like this gravel area, and I'm like, I could do it. Oh, hell no.
You can't skate on gravel. No.
Yeah, I thought I could ollie. Like, I had my thing where I could just jump over that little part.
Yeah.
No, fuck that. I just, everybody stared at me. But the cool thing was when I got up and I was like, Diego comes for me and shit, my knees all bleeding, and his friends were like, yeah, like, it's like your first time you fall. So I was like, oh, okay.
Earned your scars.
Feeling cool, yeah, basically. And I was like, okay, it was cool.
I almost got fired once.
Oh,
almost. I
real?
didn't end up getting fired, but
From where?
almost.
Oh, tell me.
From Fox Racing Clothing Store. I worked at the clothing store that they had in Westfield Valley Fair in San Jose. And
Shout out.
yeah. Well, they're not there anymore. They closed down. But I was in charge of putting up the new mannequins and the outfits and everything with my friend Rosalind.
Uh-oh.
Put a dildo with it.
We stuffed the male mannequins'
crotch area.
Give him a fatty.
and like the women's chests and stuff.
Yeah, it makes it
'cause
more real.
they're all so flat. We're like, this is not how people's bodies look. So
Yeah,
we're like stuffing socks in places and stuff. And then I guess the district manager came in like 2 days later and was like, what the hell
like-
is this?
Why is there a bulge on this motherfucker?
That's fun. He's excited to see you, sir. You're fired. You're fired. Like, man, that's some bullshit stories. Yeah, like I almost always got in fights, but it never happened. Like it never went down. Like in school, no one were like, we're ready to fight. Oh, and then like someone comes and stops it, and it never happened. Kind of shit. But
Yeah, I guess I hang out with the wrong crowds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've had like tons of reckless stuff. I remember I was working this shitty job where they used to make me, I was living in Los Gatos, California. Did I say that right? Gatos?
cool. I never heard of it.
Los Gatos.
Oh,
And
cats.
I used to have to drive to San Francisco, which was like bullshit. And then I started bitching about it because like when you work in Frisco, you have to pay for parking. It's like $40 a day. And if you have to work there like, every day, you're fucking broke.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like probably 23, 24. And then my boss is like, a fuck you, was like, all right, you don't want to work in San Francisco. On Christmas Eve, you got to work in Sacramento. Sacramento is like 2.5 hours away from fucking where I was living, right? And I used to play shows all the fucking time and just stay up, like till like 2 in the morning. And I remember I had to get up at like 4 in the morning on Christmas Eve and drive there. And I got in my truck and I was driving and I just had like no sleep. And I remember, and I'm really good at like driving, like long distances and stuff, but just no sleep. I'm on, I think it was 80 and I'm driving. And I remember looking out in the fields because there's a bunch of like towards Vallejo and all that fucking shit. There's like nothing but like just flat lands. I remember like looking and like kind of focusing on like a cow because there was like baby cows and shit,
Cute.
And then I remember I blinked and the next thing you know, I'm in the field. I like, for somehow I just like fell asleep. Yeah, for like,
That is
I don't know, a
scary.
couple things. I just drove right off, right through a fucking fence, right into the field. And I was like, oh fuck. But my truck got like dinged up a little bit, but it still worked and everything, so I got lucky.
That's
God
scary.
damn.
But it was
That's
super
scary.
reckless to not fucking get enough sleep and to do all that shit.
Yeah, I went to CSU Chico, and I would say that entire 3 years of my college career was just one big reckless decision.
Yes.
Just one big blur of recklessness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta have fun, but there's sometimes that you think everything's gonna be fine, and before you know it, you're like, what the fuck? Gosh. Damn.
Yeah, I remember my very first time when I first moved out, Okay,
bye.
Bye. I remember the first day I moved out, I was 17, just about to turn 18, and I moved in with Adam, the duffel bag guy, and all them. And my mom was like kind of happy that I was moving, and she was like, here, take all my furniture, and I'm gonna get new stuff, and you can have all of like art. And it was pretty nice furniture. And then of course, the first night that we're there, I'm like, let's have a fucking major party,
All right.
Of course.
We got like super drunk, and then like our upstairs neighbor turned out to be like an acid dealer.
Oh.
And he came down with like a bunch of acid, and like it just got super wild. And I remember I was like playing video games, and we used to play this fighting game back in the day called Bloody Roar. It's a really fast-paced fighting game. And we also had this like
acid?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
I was like, wait a second.
Cool. I don't even want to know.
And I remember we also used to have this kind of like a pranking club. We used to call the Coyote Clan, right?
You had a name for it?
Yeah.
He was 17.
So
We-
stupid.
No.
He was 17, okay, everybody?
I don't care if you're 17 or 7. That's ridiculous.
I used to have a mask. I had
Coyotes are vicious,
a
though. Those
fucking
animals.
invisible man mask, so it was just all like cloth.
Oh, shit.
And then
even better.
Adam had a
Scary.
wooden witch mask.
No.
And Kyle had a clown mask.
Oh,
And we would go and play pranks on our friends, right?
scary.
But this particular night, at our first night at the house, everybody got messed up. And what started, it was supposed to be like a few friends, but it ended up being like 30 people in this like small apartment. And we're on the first floor, and everybody's getting wild. And I remember it was like super hot, and I put my mask on just to be weird or whatever. And, I was under the influence. And then I was like, I'm just going to go to bed. It was like midnight or something. And then I went and laid in my room, and I thought it was like a couple hours, but it only been like half an hour. And I came back out, but I was just wearing my boxers and this fucking mummy mask. And then everybody's like, oh, and then I start playing video games again. And I remember Adam's girlfriend at the time was Sandy. And I had spilt a little bit of soda, and she was like, hey, watch it, like it's our house or whatever. And then I just grabbed it and was like, fuck you, and I like poured it all over the carpet. And then that just triggered like hella people just doing like crazy shit and destroying shit.
Fight.
And then
It was all your fault.
yeah, and then I remember
my God.
I passed out, right? And then I woke up the next day to like this pounding on the we had that glass sliding door.
Okay.
And it's just my mom's pounding on the glass, right? And I get up and I'm wearing my underwear, this mummy mask, and I look, and the coffee table's smoldering. It was on fire at one point.
Oh, what?
This other dude had burnt a big hole into the fucking couch. Hella people spilled beer, and there was a bong that
That's
had
horrible.
got poured out on one of the
That's
things.
gross.
And then there was just people. Kyle, my drummer, was pretty much half naked. There was girls. There was just a bunch of stuff going on.
Everything was going on that day.
It was just the aftermath basically. And
Like a Motley Crue aftermath.
it was bad. And my mom beating on the door, and I'm wearing this mask, right? And then I'm like, what's happening? And then I see my mom, and then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to act like I didn't see her. And I go back, and then she's like, no, motherfucker, let me in right now.
I know, you just looked at me. You just looked
Oh my God.
And then
funny.
and that was pretty reckless.
So you never did acid again?
I did a couple more times when we lived in that apartment, because the guy lived above us,
Did it again, but moved all the furniture.
Yeah, but my mom was so pissed. It was not even 24 hours or whatever, and I'd already destroyed everything that she had
came
given
over
me.
to
Man.
make you breakfast.
I don't even remember why she was there. I remember taking my mask off and being like, I can explain, and she was just there's no explaining this.
Yeah.
And she just left. And I was like, all right, fuck it. What can I do? We got time for a spiggity sponsor.
Yes, we do. This episode is brought to you by Dark and Dreary Clothing.
Dark and Dreary.
Dark and Dreary is an edgy fashion and lifestyle brand that embraces great design and unsurpassed quality. Dark and Dreary has quickly gained a following amongst fans of occult, horror, punk rock, heavy metal, and all-around free thinkers, and retailers worldwide without shoving a preachy, trendy, or political message down your throat. So buy the best, fuck the rest, darkanddrearyclothing.com.
We have a brand new website up. Go check it out.
Kill.
darkanddreary.com. Did you guys ever disappoint your parents in a reckless way?
Oh, yeah.
More times than I can count, unfortunately.
Well, let's hear about one.
Not proud to say it, but I got a DUI.
Ooh.
I did. Not proud to say it.
But if I remember correctly, it wasn't like, it was kind of a fucked up DUI, right?
Yeah, it was kind of fucked up. I was coming out of the bar with my friend because his girlfriend had like cheated on him and he just found out.
Oh, no.
And he was like crying. And so I was like, okay, like let's just go sit in my car for a little bit. So I mean, we were both wasted, but we were sitting in the car and the cop rolls up.
Oh,
DUI.
Yeah. Crap.
Yeah, it
Well,
sucks.
at least you were being, you weren't freaking
I
driving.
had good intentions.
Yeah.
I was just trying to like help the guy out.
The guy just cried more. Damn, that sucks.
But
man.
yeah, it was fucked up. And fuck, DUIs are expensive.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
And that shit sticks with you for a while.
Oh my god.
Damn, I never got caught. I just never got caught.
Yeah.
I don't even know. I would drink so much that I was so confident that I could drive drunk. Like, oh, I got this.
That was like my mom.
It's her. And the car's like all parked, all stupid, and I don't know.
Yeah, 14 accidents as a passenger, I've said before. And about
scary.
12 of them were with my mom. She got popped twice.
Damn, that shit's scary though. Like in the moment, it's like fuck. It's scary.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, anytime you get busted, it's scary. I remember we didn't get arrested. There was no real consequences to this one, but it was super reckless, super dangerous. I was at Adam's house when we were in high school, and we were just little stoner metalheads, and we were cutting school, and we went into his backyard, and he had the tiniest little like target. It was like a metal box that you could shoot 22s into.
Oh, okay.
And it just like you hit it and the little thing spins. So we're like all like just stupid. I think we were 16 at the time. We're like, hey dude, let's fucking light this thing up, right? So we go and we stick it on the fence. And me and him each grab a 22 and we just start fucking unloading on this thing.
I don't
And we weren't good shots.
You
And
weren't?
the box is only like a foot in square.
Yeah.
And we were hitting all over the fence and not
Oh,
thinking
my
that the
God.
bullets were going through the fence
Yeah.
into the house.
yeah.
Whoops, into the house behind. And we shot out, the window was open, and luckily nobody was home at the time because they were at work.
Still fucked up.
But we shot up their house. It had like black bullet holes like on their white house.
Yeah.
And then one of the bullets went into the window that was open and it shot out their TV.
Damn.
And I remember Adam's dad, that's how we found out, is we were like lighting it up, right? And then we were all laughing and then we like go into the house and then we hear like his dad had a big ass Bronco and we hear it squealing around the corner because somebody had called him and said your kids are fucking shooting
ham on
on this house. He was like
Yeah.
another neighbor or whatever, and he comes flying into the driveway, and he comes kicks the door and what the fuck you idiots doing? And we're just like what?
So
we're all
oblivious.
Like we were like total typical stoner teenage kids with like our hair was like this long. We just listened to headbang
And
all day.
bleached blonde. Imagine that.
Yeah, it was probably a mix of black and blonde by then. But yeah, like you just came in and we thought we were in trouble for cutting school. We had no idea.
Oh, yeah,
we had no idea that
Yeah.
like we had just shot up this fucking house
shit's crazy.
and we could have killed somebody. We could have injured somebody. Yeah, and he starts throwing us around like, "Oh, you fucking idiots!" and he drags us out there and he's just like, "Look what you did,"
Damn.
And then,
Thank God there's nobody in there, but you probably killed the cat though.
No, eh.
Who knows?
we got lucky. But and then I remember, I think shout out to Pops, fucking Pop Salazar. because I think he took care of it all. He like, fixed up their house, and I think he had to buy them a new TV, and that was the end of that one.
Damn, you got lucky with that one.
Yeah, that was reckless as fuck.
Yeah, we got a lot of stories too, like as kids. Some reckless shit that we did. My mom was so mad at us. We were probably 10 years old. So, around 10, me and my brother. We're always hanging out together. And we saw that what we thought was people moving out in the house across from us. And we're like, oh, look, they're moving out. They're like, they left. They wrapped up and left. Like, moving, U-Haul, everything. So we just go to that house. And we start taking things that we, they left this, they left that,
Oh, no.
The thing was, they were remodeling.
Oh.
They weren't moving.
So you did a B&E.
Yeah. I didn't know, like, at all, right? So we were completely minors, and they called the cops on us. They found us inside the house, and they're like, oh, there's some fucking kids in here. And we're like, oh, shit, And they were our neighbors, so they had seen us before.
Yeah, they knew
like,
who you were.
They're the fucking kids from across the street. That's all we heard. We're like, oh, shit. Like we try to run and get out. They're like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay. Already like, I'm sorry. And then they locked the gate. There was like some gate to go to the backyard. My mom comes out, and she's just cussing in Spanish, just saying all kinds of shit. Oh, we're grounded forever, And so we talked to the cop, and then my mom's getting into it with the neighbor, and they're just, and we were grounded to I don't know when, like, Damn, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, I was like breaking and stealing shit.
Yeah.
They caught us red-handed.
Yeah.
What's crazy too, because now we're parents, and like,
I know. I was just thinking that hearing all this stuff makes me kind of fear for my future.
My mom would just be like, "Go outside and don't come in until the light, like it's getting dark."
Yeah.
And that's what we would do. We would literally like put up camp outside and play and just I think they're moving. Let's go over there.
Oh man. I remember too. I was in this band, Unconventional Thought Process, and we had a bass player, and he was from I think Minnesota, and he had moved to California to like be in a band, and he had joined our band. His name was Todd. Shout out to Todd if you're still alive somewhere. And he rehearsed with us.
Still alive somewhere.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, I haven't seen him. Well, I'll tell you. Like, so he was living in Redding, which is where her dad is, and it's like fucking 4 or 5 hours away from Fremont, San Jose area where we were from. And he used to drive, and we'd practice twice a week, and then he would just stay out with his cousin who lived in Santa Clara, right? And then he would just sleep on his couch until rehearsals were done, and then he'd go back up there. And we played a bunch of shows with him. We had known this dude for like 4 or 5 months, and like invested all this like time into him. And then in the middle of practice one day, he gets a call, and he goes, "Fuck, we just got raided." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "I gotta go, man." And then he just like leaves his gear, and he just fucking jumps in his car, and we never saw him again.
Like
never heard from him.
Never heard from him. Never.
He was selling shit.
Yeah.
Whoa.
All we heard was, "Shit,
Allegedly.
we just got raided." And he left his gear, left everything, just fucking bounced. So
That's weird.
Whatever he was doing was reckless.
That's weird.
Did you ever try to like find out about him? Ever ask about him? Ever search?
Yeah, I mean, I used to text him and be like, "Yo, dude, are you alive?" or whatever. And it was just
nothing.
Silence. How weird. I wonder if he went to jail.
Yeah, it could have been. Probably.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember Brian wasn't like too sad because a few days prior there was a party, and Brian had a girlfriend named Gina at the time.
Oh, fucking
And Todd was like hitting on her at the party. So Brian was already kind of like,
fuck that guy.
yeah,
Competition's out.
like getting pissed. But yeah, that was pretty funny.
Damn.
But yeah, I was like genuinely worried for him at first. I was like, where the fuck is this guy? You know?
Oh man.
Oh, another sponsor time.
Yes.
Sponsor time. And fucking hit us up. We want to
so-
sponsor other people. We're trying to I was talking to, well, I don't know if I should say. Well, I'm talking to a company. So if you're that company, you know who you are. Pull the trigger. Let's get some sponsors on this shit.
Let's do the thing. This episode is also brought to you by Mod Ministry. Mod Ministry merch creates for the edgy woman, the kind of woman who works hard but plays much harder, who embraces femininity but tests the societal limits. We are not for the faint of heart. We are bold. We are beautiful. Check out our Mod Ministry Etsy page for handmade harness lingerie, 5-star rated seller since 2014. Boom.
Sexual.
Let's get sexual.
So many songs about that subject.
It's so funny, like living here. It's just we're in like the Bible Belt, and people here like are so different. They'll be like, even if they're just walking down the street, they all wave at you and nod at you, and they always want to get like
it's nice.
They want to get into your business.
Oh,
like anytime I like interact with somebody new, they're like, what do you do, blah blah blah, you know. And
I think you're just an interesting character, and people are just genuinely interested to know like
but they
what
do
you're
to
doing
you too.
here.
Yeah.
But like sometimes like older people ask her, they're like, oh, what do you do? And she's like, I'm a fashion designer. And they're like, well, we want to see what you do, you know, blah blah blah.
And all my stuff is like very risque.
I don't know if you want to, ma'am.
And then I go, I make laundry. It's very awkward when it's a man who asks too. Then it's just like, I make women's clothing. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Sometimes they try to pull it up on their
no,
phone.
I forgot it.
No, okay, I gotta go buy. That's funny.
Yeah, but it's fucking awesome. Let's see. I mean, I got tons and tons of fucking stories.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say to add to the disappointment thing about the mom.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure she can tell you thousands of stories and probably things I don't remember. But the one thing that was very memorable and I was kind of shocked was when she straight up asked me one day, "Are you a virgin?"
Ooh, awkward.
Yeah, and I was like,
you're like, hell no, girl. I mean,
the thing was that like we were having a great day, you know, we were like doing carne asada, we were cooking out, you know, and
you're like, does butt stuff count?
No, I was like doing, you know,
no, it doesn't count. Or
no, I mean, okay, let's go back to where I was. My mom was like, she just felt comfortable. We were drinking wine coolers. We were just hanging out, right?
How old were you?
At this point, I was at least 22, I think, right?
Oh, okay.
And and she said, you know, I don't know how we got into it, but then she just said, "Are you a virgin?" And I said, "No, Mom. Like, don't you remember when the cop brought me home when I was 16? I got caught at the park." And she's like, just staring at me. It's like like if she blocked that part of that of my life that happened. Like
PTS.
the cop knocks on the door and is like, we caught your daughter having sex in the park. Just straight up like that. And I was like, we were just making out. Like I was 16 back then. Like I was so in love with that boyfriend I had, blah, blah, whatever. And she goes, get in the house. And I go in the house and I'm like, we were just kissing, Ma, he was lying. And I thought that she remembered that. I thought she knew, okay, she lost her V card. And
she believed you.
She fucking, you know, and going back to when I was 22, I was talking about it. I was like, of course, don't you remember that shit? Blah, blah, blah. And she would just look just so sad. Just this huge dark cloud came over her.
Just fucking washes over her.
She just looked so disappointed. She looks at him and she goes, and I'm like, she's crying. Like, she started to cry. And I was like, oh, shit.
You were 22, though. I mean, how many 22-year-old virgins do you know?
Not many.
I know one.
Okay. But
another story.
It gets worse. Like, it gets worse because I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you remembered. And she goes like that to me. Like, she don't want to talk to me no more.
I gave you the fucking hand?
She gave me the fucking hand. Like, and I was like, oh. And I'm sitting there with the guacamole, like, is there a good time over? And I was like, oh, fuck, you know? And then she goes and pops open the hard liquor. And she starts taking shots. And she goes to the fucking, I'm like crying because my allergies plus it's emotional. But she goes to the living room and she puts on that Mexican music that you just bang when corridos. Yeah. That's what it's called. Corridos are like the sad stories and like my goodness. She got shit faced. And I was like, Mom,
drama.
Yeah, I was like, what the? This is a fucking novela. Like I was like, I can't. What the fuck? Like she wanted to make sure that I felt bad.
Yeah. What about your mom? Yeah. Did your mom ever ask you the first time you got down on that?
No, I think she just kind of knew.
And she just never.
Yeah, it wasn't really something that we,
talked about.
It just kind of was a mutual understanding, I think.
Yeah.
I
mean, I was surprised. I was like, oh. Anyway. Disappointments.
All right. Let's see.
Is it time for the comment section?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Ooh.
Life in the comment section.
We do have a comment from Bitter Batwing Minister of Madness.
That is quite the name.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Shout out.
He says...
Where's he from?
It's a he, right?
Is it a he?
Yeah, minister. Say. Well...
Yeah, if it's a minister...
Well, it doesn't matter. He, she, It says, accidentally pressed dislike button. Didn't mean to. This episode is great. Food poisoning sucks. I ate a leftover pizza. It was in the fridge for 5 days. I puked for about an hour.
Gross.
Okay. Yeah, I remember speaking to him. I think.
Yeah, for the food episode.
Yeah, for the last episode.
Yeah, pizza's got about a day to 2 day fucking...
2 days if it was really good.
Oh man, I can't even imagine.
I remember at that apartment, my first apartment, Adam's girlfriend Sandy worked at a pizza restaurant, and we were all starving. We lived off of fucking $4 a day, Jack in a Box, 2-for-1 tacos and shit, And she worked at a fucking pizza place, and I remember we used to always be like, bring home pizza, and she's like, oh, there's no pizza or whatever. We're like, what the fuck? And then I remember they went to go pick her up one time, and we see her, and she's outside, and she's throwing away pizza. And we're like, Sandy, what the fuck are you doing? And then she's like, what? And we're like, what the fuck are you doing? You're throwing away pisa? She's like, it's 2 hours old.
2
fuck
hours?
You. Fuck you. Don't ever throw pizza away.
That's hilarious.
First off, you said Jack in the Box tacos, which reminds me of another little story I have to tell you.
Go ahead.
So me and a bunch of friends had just got done at a concert. I think it was Revolution in Chico. And we were all wasted, Coke, all that, And we're everyone was just crazy. And everyone's leaving the concert. And there's a Jack in the Box right there. And we go to the Jack in the Box. Everyone's ordering tacos because it's the cheapest thing you can get. And this one guy is talking nonsense. He's like, I bet you I can eat 20 tacos. And we're like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, 30 tacos. We're like, really? He's like, 40 tacos.
What the fuck?
If you buy them for me. We're like,
it's
okay, but only if you eat them on your head.
Oh, shit.
We got this guy 40 tacos, and he did a headstand, and tried to eat the tacos.
Damn.
It was hilarious.
How many did he get through?
Oh, I don't remember. Not very many.
Oh,
Not very many.
Tacos are good, though.
Somebody has the video. I wish I could find that.
We're talking reckless Jack in a Box stories.
Yeah.
I have a buddy named Carl, and we threw a party at the tattoo shop one time, and then we were like, hey, Carl, meet us back at the house. And he's like, all right, but me and my girl are going to go to Taco Bell or Jack in a Box real quick. Yeah. And we're like, all right. And then he never came back, right? And we're like, oh, I wonder what happened to Carl. And we found out he went to Jack in a Box, was fucked up from the party.
Oh, yeah.
Ordered some shit, got disgruntled with the people, then pulled a knife on him. And then cops showed up. Then he tried to fight a cop and got they beat the fuck out of him and arrested him.
Carl never came back.
Yeah, and he went to jail. It was Memorial Weekend or some shit. And so it was
it was for the tattoo shop birthday.
No, I know, but it happened to fall on some weekend where, because he
weekend,
went into jail on Friday, but he couldn't see a judge till Tuesday. Oh, so he was in jail all fucking weekend.
Too damn long. Damn, Carl.
Shout out to Carl.
All right, we have another comment from Daniel G on Facebook. Says, hey Sean, Daniel from Reno, Nevada. I saw you with Unconventional Thought Process back in 2006. You were awesome, man. Love Last Nail even more. Please give me a shout out on the show.
Shout out.
Shout out,
Woo!
Daniel G.
Daniel G.
Danny Dan.
Yep. I'm sure there's a lot of people who have seen your band.
Yeah. Fuck, that was quick. But yay, we made it. 10
Happy
episodes.
10.
Hence our couture attire.
Yeah, we got all dressed up.
We did, just
I took
for
my shit
you.
off because it's too hot here. Texas has been
Pictures
crazy.
here.
The thunderstorms.
Oh my god, yeah.
Me and Bane went to go get some bread. There's this place called, was it Fagoli's?
Yeah, something like that. Fazoli's.
Oh yeah,
Fazoli's,
the Italian
right.
place. Yeah.
In California, there is no drive-through Italian places, but here they have
drive-through.
drive-through. They have drive-through everything, donuts,
basically.
anything you can
Yeah.
imagine.
Everything burger place.
And my son loves these fucking garlic breadsticks.
Oh, and they're free.
And,
They
well,
give you
they're
free
like $2
breadsticks.
for like a dozen if you just get the
Just the
fucking
bread? Oh.
bread. And we went and got them, and then
Do you hear the bats?
There's bats.
yeah, you can
Did you
hear
hear
them.
that?
Yeah, the bats
Weird. Okay,
hang
go
out.
ahead.
As long as they don't get in here, I'm good.
I remember we were driving. This was yesterday. We were driving, and right as we're like halfway home, it's like a fucking nuclear bomb fucking hit, and the clouds just like start fucking pouring
yeah.
rain, and the highway starts to fill up with water, and I'm like, oh fuck! But I'm in a big truck, so I'm like, all right, well fuck this.
Yeah.
And I hopped up on. They have these things called frontage roads here in Texas, which we don't have in California. And you can just get off the highway and get on these fucking little frontage roads, and it just runs parallel. And I just got off on that and got home, but like probably 20, 30 minutes after I got home, it just completely flooded.
Yeah. There's a lot of places that actually got flooded. Like, we went to the store today, and they had a sign that says, "Watch your step, store flooded." And I'm like, what the? Why would you even be open?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Did you see the video they put on the news, though?
No, I didn't
Yeah, she
see.
sent it to me.
Yeah.
It's like these two brothers in a car, and they're on the frontage road looking at the highway all flooded. They're like, "Damn, motherfucker!
These dumb motherfuckers.
Look at these dumb motherfuckers!"
There was some guy
put
like
them on the
stuck in his
news.
car
Yeah.
trying to go
And
through the flood.
Yeah, it was like a
Oh,
Mustang like
God.
stuck,
Yeah.
and like they have it's like disclaimer like
Profanity.
Yeah, profanity
Oh.
language. But it was so funny. Yeah, they're like motherfucking dumbass
It's
motherfuckers.
wacko for you. Wacko, Texas.
But at least it's interesting, right?
Yeah, that shit was. We had
Cool.
to stop, but we were driving. We were actually doing some work and deliveries, and so shit, it got really dangerous, and we just stopped under some what do you call
Underpass.
it? No, gas station. Fucking
Oh,
gas
okay.
station.
Yeah.
And then the wind was like, and I was like, oh shit, like, please don't kill me now. Like, yeah, Texas for you.
Yep. Well, awesome. It's our 10th one. We made it.
10 down.
Thanks, everybody. We just hit like over 100 subscribers on
Yay!
YouTube. And we are loving it all. Thanks for making it worth it for us. Check us out
Give
on
us some
Patreon.
feedback.
Our next Patreon, we're playing Never Have I Ever.
Oh,
Yeah,
And it's fucking good. It's a good
That
one.
was good.
yeah.
All right. All right. Till next time, guys. Later.
Bye.
He's a liar!